Meet George Jetson.
60 years ago today, the Jetsons premiered on television. I think it was ABC's first color program.
Daughter Judy.
Yeah, Corey, but no black people in the Jetsons. I guess we're going to boycott the Jetsons. No presentism. It is 60 years of the Jetsons. Too. And I guess the space race and NASA and going to the moon and Kennedy's declaration and that type of stuff got them going down the path. Plus, you're talking about a bunch of creative folks, these animators, educated and really creative, talented. No, they guessed a lot of things right. A lot of things they nailed down correctly when it came to the future with this cartoon from 60 years ago. The Jetsons. No, it's amazing. It's like, well, I've told you before, Jetsons, Bullwinkle, Johnny Quest. Adults can watch these cartoons with kids because they've got a little adult angle, yet kids like them too. It's a pretty unique situation. But the Jetsons was really cutting edge because, they predicted video calls like on a monitor, flat screen televisions, flat screen TVs 60 years ago. Who was even thinking about that? Personal assistants, smart watches, tanning beds, food printing, home treadmills, space tourism, people movers, all kind of stuff. No, and I've always mentioned the theme song alone has more musical talent in it than most of today's musical groups. A real song with real musicians, actual talent, people that practiced their instrument, mastered their instrument, not computer generated. I can do that. I can make that up. Anyway, 60 years of the Jetsons. Pretty cool stuff. Do I go watch Jetsons cartoons? No. But if I had a kid or I'm at somebody's house, they got kids and the Jetsons comes on, I could sit there and watch that for 5 or 10 minutes and have no problem. Would be entertained. A lot better than a lot of adult programming that's on today. That's for sure. So many channels, so many choices, so much garbage. It's amazing. You want to know an incredibly bad night of television? You ever home on a Saturday night? You could have every cable channel on planet Earth, and I'll pay you money if you can come up with a good program at 8, 9 p.m. on a Saturday night on television, anywhere. Just doesn't exist. I don't understand it. All right, enough of that. It is a Fantasy Friday. Cha-ching. Yeah, you right. Thanks for finding us, by the way. We're growing all the time. People are spreading the word. I like that Corey Johnson guy. He tells it like it is. He really is fair or balanced. Now, I'm a Republican, and he's not a Republican, but I like what he has to say. It's common sense. He's smart. And I'm a Democrat. He's not a Democrat, but I like that, what he has to say. It's common sense. It's smart. Yeah, folks are talking. Thanks for doing it. 93.9 FM. Yeah, you right. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. Weekday afternoons, 4 p.m. We're also on New Orleans' own 107.9 FM. 107.9 FM. 600 AM from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida. Hey, we're on TV. Cox Channel 4 television. All over Louisiana. Spectrum Channel 333 television. All over Louisiana. Live streaming, CoreyTalks.com, our website, CoreyTalks.com. Hey, we're also on YouTube the last few months. We have our own YouTube channel. Hooray! Check out our YouTube channel, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground. Click to subscribe. Doesn't cost a nickel. Got a good one on a Fantasy Friday. The usual suspects. Fletcher Mackel, about 10 minutes away. We'll find out what's going on with your New Orleans Saints, your Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College Tigers, your Tulane Green Wave 3-0 at home at Yeoman. I don't know about you, but there's only one college football experience in New Orleans, and it's Tulane, and they have their own stadium, holds about 30,000, and you may laugh or chuckle or think that's nothing. If you go to a Green Wave game, I'm telling you, and there's 20,000 or more there, it is a college atmosphere. You're going to be shocked. If you go, you'll want to go again. It's inexpensive. This year, a very high-quality product so far. And tomorrow night, Southern Miss, Hattiesburg, they're going to bring thousands to New Orleans. A lot of them are already here. They're rolling in as we speak, beelining down 59, listening to this program, coming through Slidell, coming across the Twin Span, into the east, over the high rise, right into the city, checking into a hotel downtown, CBD, French Quarter. Got good dinner reservations tonight. Maybe they're going to go check out some music, go get some good cocktails at a bar, have a good time in New Orleans. And then they're going to do some touristy things tomorrow. Maybe some bagnets. I think it's pronounced bagnets. Get some bagnets. And blow the powdered sugar on each other. Anyway. I like bagnets. They're good. Good beignets are good. Bad ones are terrible. When they're like rubbery dough, it's too much. I like a light beignet. Powdered sugar. Keep it coming. Anyway, no, they're going to be doing the New Orleans touristy thing tomorrow and then going to the game uptown at Yeoman. It's a great environment. Still some tickets available. I highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. You're like, boy, I'm shocked. Great new stadium. Really cool stadium. You're right on top of the action. And Corey's right. This really is a college-like atmosphere. It ain't a high school game. That's for sure. It's not. I like being on the Tulane campus. Beautiful campus to walk through. Really is. It's nice. Anyway, we'll talk with Fletcher Mackel about the Green Wave, the Tigers, the Saints, Sean Payton's BS, as I'm calling it, nonsense. And the minute he walked out the door, he was ready to coach again. There is no needed a break. No one needs a break. It immediately sells their house in New Orleans and moves to Idaho. Doesn't have a house in New Orleans. I don't care. I'm not saying he's wrong for that. Breeze sold his uptown house, but bought a major condo in the Four Seasons downtown. But Drew Brees has business interests here. I just think a coach that's like, man, I'm really burned out. I'm going to quit coaching. And then immediately is talking about next coaching job in the NFL and sells the house in New Orleans and moves to Idaho just like that. And is on TV and talking about coaching. Come on. No burnout, no needed the year off. He had a year off. Anyway, I'm sure Fletcher will disagree with all this, but that's why we do it. Anyway, I think Taysom Hill's starting at quarterback this weekend too. Sheesh. Remember that charade, that folly, that farce? You got to like this one. It's called control because of blatant lack of transparency. The city council's request to block the mayor from controlling money from the Wisner Trust was granted today. Any future expenditures coming from the Wisner Trust that will be spent in the city of New Orleans, it's taxpayer money, has to go through a court approval process. A court must approve any Wisner Trust money being spent. That's excellent, since the mayor moved north of $1 million of it to one of her private, or one of her personal nonprofits, I should say. There's reportedly an IG investigation into the mayor's nonprofits. No, the money's not like donated. It's some donated money, but pulling it out of the Wisner fund, and I'm anxious to see where the other money comes from, because it's other city sources, other public money, taxpayer money. And then I want to follow that money. Who's on these boards, commissions? Who's in charge of these nonprofits? How are they tied to the mayor? Do they have any experience doing it? How much are they getting paid? The money they get and they send out for services, who are those people? How are they connected to the money? Are they providing any services? You know, I talk about the Humane Society of Louisiana proudly, 97 cents of every dollar going to the cats and dogs, the animals. 96, 97 cents. What do you think the percentage is with these mayor nonprofits? What do you think the mayor's fund, the percentage going to the needy is? Seriously, it's a Bill Jefferson gimmick. It's probably like in the teens. The mayor and her pals are getting 80-something%. Coming right back, Fletcher
For
Mackel.
game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations: Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore in Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms, with high-definition night vision surveillance systems letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, no cool spots. NoAC.com, no cool spots.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
When you think of Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, you think about fresh local fish like flounder, snapper, and speckled trout, fried, broiled, or grilled. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
Yeah, you, right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Why don't you go get some great Italian tonight? You've been hearing me talk about Fausto's Italian Bistro for how long? Like a decade now? And some of you have never been, and you know the place. Drive by it all the time right there on Vets. Go experience some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro. They open up at 5. They'll go till 10 p.m. tonight. It's as good as I've been talking about. Ask folks that go, that know. Tonight for dinner, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Earlier this week, it was his birthday. Who cares? Fletcher Mackel joins us on the program again.
Corey, thank you for having me. Yes, it was my birthday on Monday.
Does Travers have to call you Mr. out of respect since you're his elder?
I guess I am 5 minutes older, so I like to say he looks older, though.
Yep. Yeah, that's not, I don't know if that, maybe so. Maybe the kids will do that to you.
It's true. 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. You're right.
Yep. You know, we're not talking about the ones that you don't claim. We're talking about your brother, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Fletch has some kids on the West Bank. Pretends they're not his. All right, let's move on. Hey, Fletch, this is going to be very telling for our audience. They're going to go, that makes sense. That's why Corey's like he is, and that's why Fletcher's like he is. It's 60 years ago today, the Jetsons debuted on ABC, their first color television program, 1962. My cartoons when I was a kid, Jetsons, Johnny Quest. I like Bugs Bunny and all those crazy characters. Flintstones were excellent, and I liked the fat kid in the junkyard that I'm not going to mention because the creators like Darren Sharper has Darren Sharper like problems. But that's what I grew up with. What about you? What were your cartoons?
Yeah, I like those cartoons a lot. I like the Jetsons a lot growing up. I remember as a kid, Scooby-Doo was like a big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. The Flintstones, I like the Flintstones a lot. I'm trying to think of what other cartoons did I really like. I don't know.
No, I'm impressed. I thought it was going to be like Sponge Pants Square Bob or some crap.
No, I think that was a little after my cartoon days. So, yeah.
I liked Space Ghost. I thought he was pretty funny. That was sort of a weird one. Do you ever remember the Hercules cartoon? Speaking of weird.
I don't know if I remember the Hercules cartoon now.
Jason, do you remember Hercules? It was awful. You're going to have to Google it. It's painful. Hercules. Toot was some half deer, half man thing that played a flute, and that's how he spoke. Hercules was like, what's that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. One of the other animals talked to Toot, and he'd be like, what's that? And then you'd hear, and he'd be like, oh, the Daedalus beast. And he talked with the flute. I'm going to talk with a flute, Fletch, the rest of this segment, and you have to translate it and answer the questions. You ready?
Sure.
That was, I think Sean Payton's full of you-know-what. There is no, we're getting out the gate quick, Fletch. I don't think I'm burned out. I need time off. He sat out a season a few years ago. No one who's burned out quits and the next day is talking about the next gig in the NFL. No one who's burned out sells their house like the next day and moves out of the city, lives in Idaho now, has nothing to do with New Orleans anymore. I don't care. I'm not bummed out the coach doesn't live in New Orleans. I just think all this is nonsense. The coach left for totally different reasons that have zero to do with burned out, needed a break. He'll be back next year coaching. And the only reason he wouldn't be next year is if he can't land a team that has a top 5 QB. He's not going somewhere to develop a QB, to draft a QB. He's going into a team next year that has a Drew Brees, top flight NFL, Super Bowl winning quarterback. A guy that can win you a Super Bowl, or he ain't going back next year. He'll wait another year. But the burnout, 110% Sean Payton nonsense, like selling Taysom Hill as the next quarterback. You can say wow and then answer if you want.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. I would disagree a little bit. I think that there is some level of truth and honesty to Sean being burnt out and wanting to take a break. And look, he flirted with it hardcore here in 2015 and again in 2016 about going to coach another team, about stepping away. Bill Parcells always told him that every 4 or 5 years, your voice is no longer heard. It doesn't resonate the right way. I mean, Jim Mora always tells us that Bill Walsh told him, if you've reached a decade in one place, it just doesn't work anymore. That, it's not as fresh as it was. Maybe you're not as fresh as you are. So I do think there's something to be said about Sean spending 16 years here. And look, maybe he looks at the decisions he made of doubling down on Taysom Hill, of, Jameis not necessarily working out, of not drafting and developing quarterbacks. I think that was all part of the I don't want to call it burnout, but like I need a break from this. Like I've been in this now. Sean's 58 years old.
I'll give you that. Like, I'm tired of New Orleans. I'm tired of this organization, tired of the same thing. I need a change of pace, but burned out, need to sit out a year. It's a bunch of nonsense. Well, wait, real quick, especially when Miami gets busted for tampering. Do you think Payton and his reps weren't listening to that? Like, they weren't answering. You don't get busted for tampering if no one answers the phone and has a conversation with you. So it has to be a two-way street. So Payton's listening to the Dolphins while he's the Saints coach. That's a fact. That is a 110% fact, not my opinion.
Let me say this. That's not a fact. The fact is that the NFL investigation said that Payton's agent, right? The Dolphins had reached out to Payton's agent, and Payton is an under contract coach. So it wasn't like Payton could have just walked away. I mean, the Saints could have blocked or requested compensation at a level that the Dolphins would have said, no way. Like,
Fletch, if Payton's agent would have said right off the bat, Dolphins, a guy's under contract with the Saints, I have nothing to talk to you about. Click. There would have been no penalties against the Dolphins. The agent of Payton communicated with the Dolphins. It was a two-way street. There can't be tampering if there isn't participation on the other side, right?
Well, no. I mean, there can be tampering. The Dolphins can't just call and talk about a coach that's under contract. I mean, technically, again, do I think that Payton's agent had a conversation with them? Yes. But does it get to the fact of that's a fact he talked to the Dolphins?
Oh, no, I'm saying Payton did. I don't mean Payton. I mean, that's where the player goes, I'm not doing that. And then the agent's saying he's doing that. And the player goes, I didn't lie. My agent. I mean, Payton, his agent is Payton.
Miami is one of the most storied organizations, not in recent history because they haven't won a lot, but Miami's a sexy city. Miami's one of the oldest teams in the NFL. Miami has this great tradition and history. It's the Dolphins. And look, Sean Payton and Tom Brady share an agent, okay? So the fact that they share an agent, that the Miami owner is a Michigan guy who's been a Brady lover forever, and Stephen Ross, and loves Brady. And so I certainly think that his dream scenario was, what if I could get Brady and Payton? I like Mike Florio at NBC Sports. Mike Florio is the one who has been pushing this as if there was it was a done deal. It was going to happen, but no one else has.
I'm not pushing. That's Mike Florio's opinion. He's probably right. It makes sense. If it all would have fell together, right, it probably would have happened and the teams would have got compensation. I'm just saying this much, Fletch. Payton's agent accepted the conversation, accepted the calls and the conversation. Otherwise, Miami would not have been busted for tampering.
But
that's all I'm saying. Instead of, hey, I coached New Orleans, I'm happy here. Nothing to discuss.
They were also busted more. Payton was kind of like the lanyard of that punishment.
I think that's right. Brady was the big deal.
Brady had actual contact and conversations with Stephen Ross going back because they're both Michigan graduates and because they have a relationship. They had conversations going back to Brady's days with the Patriots of playing for Miami. So Payton was absolutely part of that. But let me say this. If the right situation would have presented itself last year, would Payton have coached again this year? No doubt about it. I think when you say it's burnout, I think it's burnout from he did not feel fueled and basically challenged anymore by coming to work in New Orleans, being part of New Orleans, being part of this organization.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the story. That's it.
That's burnout. But here's the thing. But that is burnout. Like, that is being burned out of, hey, he does, again,
burned out in coaching is, but
let me say just the thing about it
out,
too is, But this is a guy that, unlike a lot of new wave coaches, and look, Dennis Allen isn't like this. Sean Payton is one of these maniacal, workaholic, burn the midnight oil. I don't care about your families. We work. We're here at 6 a.m. watching film. We're here till 8 at night breaking down film, 9 at night. This is a 15-hour-a-day gig. I mean, Sean Payton is the one who built sleep rooms at the Saints facility so his coaches would work and sleep like he did. So, again, I do think all of it. Now, how do we define burnout? I think all of it. I think COVID, the lack of success, maybe some misses on decisions.
I think if you would ask 99% of Saints fans, they would agree with you because they want to, but they would say, no, burnout, the coach is burned out. He doesn't want to coach. He needs a break from coaching, not what he needs a break from New Orleans and the Saints, and that's his choice, but that never seems to really be mentioned. Hey, Fletch, hang on, because when we come back, we still got to break down LSU, Tulane, and the Saints. But we'll finish up with Payton with this. I think he's overrated. I mean, 1-2 in NFC title games, 9-8 in the playoffs. Overrated.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
Tommy's Lock and Alarms is now hiring service and installation technicians. Great benefits, great pay, take-home vehicle. Apply today. Tommy'sLockandAlarms.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro. Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Fletcher Mackel's with us. Fletcher and I agree, I'd say like 90% of the time. I love when he agrees with me because it's painful for him. And same with me sometimes, having to, and I agree with what he says, but sometimes we disagree. Yeah, Fletch, I think Payton's a little overrated. Now, I love Sean Payton. I'm not, people are like, God, he's dogging Sean Payton. He hates Sean Payton, has a problem with Sean Payton. Not at all. I'm just not, no matter what he does, I love him from a Super Bowl from the 2009 season. I mean, that in New Orleans and Louisiana, we'd accept that for another 20 years. You mentioned the 10-year thing, 3 7-9 seasons in a row. You get terminated by 90% of the teams in the league if you have 3 7-9s in a row. That was right around year 8, 9, 10, something like that. 9-8 in the playoffs, barely 500 in the playoffs, 1-2 in NFC title games, just one George Halas trophy, 15 years of a first ballot Hall of Famer who was never injured. And you've got one Halas trophy on Airline Drive. Just one time you were the best team in the NFC. That just seems like a little underachieving to me, and I don't think anyone wants to say that or acknowledge that. And I'll end it with this, Fletch. In a year, we'll be talking about it when he's the coach of the Chargers or something, and fans will be agreeing because they'll be looking for something like Saban-esque, like say LSU fans with Saban, a reason to hate because he's no longer here and he's winning maybe with another team. Take that ball and run with it, Fletch.
So let me say this. I would never use the term overrated to describe Sean Payton. Do I think...
Slightly overrated, but go ahead.
Well, let me say this. I do understand what you're saying. I certainly think with a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback who's one of the greatest passers in the history of the league, I would have liked to have seen the Saints make it to the Super Bowl, be it in 2011 when they had the greatest offense in NFL history. In 2018, more with the no-call game when they should have been there. I mean, even 2019, they won the division and they should. I mean, look, they had a take game against the bad Minnesota team and they lost at home. So again, I certainly understand that at the opportunities to break through and really get back to the big game one more time or potentially win it. Sure, absolutely, positively. I can say that part of Breeze and Payton's legacy is that they made one Super Bowl appearance. And I think that you look at their body of work and say, wow, that's surprising. They only made one.
No, you would think they've got maybe at least one more, if not two more appearances. And maybe even a victory.
Yeah, I would have thought one or two more Super Bowl appearances during that tenure with that duo. Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing.
Do you think most Saints fans know Sean Payton's 9-8 in the playoffs?
I think they probably have an idea that he's probably I don't think anybody looks at it and thinks he's 15-2 in the playoffs.
No, but I would think he's like 12-6 or 11-7 or something like that. That's where I would guess.
Look, here's the thing, because I think that the fact that they never made it to the Super Bowl shows that you have to have losses to go with the wins. So again, look, I always believe that, I judge the body of work. and there's no better body of work. I mean, you can go back through history with NFL coaches. I mean, look, until Andy Reid got to Kansas City, if you'd have taken Andy Reid's body of work in Philadelphia, Sean Payton's body of work was better. And so, again, now is Sean Payton going to go to the next team like Andy Reid did and have even more success? Maybe. But like Mike Tomlin, I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I think the Steelers are a stable organization. Mike Tomlin's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. His winning percentage is almost identical to Sean Payton's, and he's had a few losing. He's never actually had a losing season, I take back. So he's similar in the fact. So I don't know if I would call these guys that if 16 years, Sean Payton had, to me, more success than failure.
Of course, Fletch. He's a winner. I love Sean Payton as a coach with the Saints. The guy's a winner. He did tremendous things, but also year in, year out, no defense. Year in, year out, no defense at all. Couldn't stop the run. I mean, they lost games every year because Sean Payton couldn't put a defense on the field year in, year out. And I think that's a major point. And here's another one, Fletch, and I'll let you run with it again. I think Saints fans in general have Payton at this level that's a little too high and Mora at a level that's a little too low. I think they're a lot closer than people think. And here's the caveat. Mora never had a Drew Brees, and Mora had, up until that point, it'd be like Sean Payton and Brees playing Brady and New England in the division every year. That's what it's like. They had the San Francisco 49ers and Steve Young and Joe Montana every year, 2 times a year. I interviewed Joe Montana. Man, the worst games of my life were the Saints games. It'd take me 2 days to recover. They beat the crap out of me. So, you take the Niners out that division. They're division champs. They're hosting playoff games. They have playoff buys. They're winning playoff games. The NFL was different back then. I think Mora, your cohort on Channel 6, a lot closer to Payton than people give him credit for. I think the Saints fan thinks the gap's big. I mean, look, I think it's not
there's one
big.
Year that the Saints went 13-3 with Jim Mora.
And we're second place.
A wild card team because the Niners went 14-2.
How many teams win 12 games a few times and don't win the division? I mean, it's 5 or 6 in NFL history.
Right. I mean, they were with the juggernaut generational franchise that had Joe Montana and Steve Young and was the New England Patriots of the 80s and into the 90s. And so there's no doubt about it. The one thing I will say, though, about like Mora and Payton is when people say things, I always say, well, if we're comparing them to Bill Belichick in 7 Super Bowls, then everybody pales in comparison. Everybody falls short of that measuring stick. But if you take Bill Belichick away, or if you take Bill Walsh away, you're talking about the greatest coaches, like in NBA history right now. Greg Popovich is a great coach. He's got 4 or 5 championship rings. They made the playoffs for 23 straight years. If you're holding every coach to 23 years of playoffs,
you'll never get anywhere.
You fall short. So I have to put Payton in the context of, let me take away the outlier that is Bill Walsh, and the outlier that is definitely Bill Belichick. Payton's resume matches up with Pete Carroll's, matches up with Mike Tomlin's, it matches up with Andy Reid's. So again, who doesn't he match up with that's a quote-unquote great coach? It matches up against, and he's not done.
Here's what's fun. Here's just another point, Fletch, about the fire after 10 years, the 3 7-9s. Tom Coughlin with the Giants has a few losing seasons in a row. He gets fired. Sean Payton has 3 losing seasons in a row, 7-9. He gets $1 million raise and an extension. Now, who would I pick as coach of my NFL team? Sean Payton or Tom Coughlin? I'm like most of the population, especially around here. I'm going to pick Sean Payton. Coughlin's got 2 Super Bowl wins. Coughlin's had more success than Payton with Super Bowls. And no one would pick Coughlin. So you can talk about the coaches with success that don't have it. I'm just saying Payton is slightly overrated. He's beloved here. It's an 2009 Super Bowl from over a decade ago, and it still carries meaning locally like it was last season.
That's where I disagree with that a little bit. I'm not saying Payton is light years better than Tom Coughlin. I put Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Tom Coughlin, Mike Tomlin, These guys, to me, are standing on equal footing. And when people say they're living on 09, well, you do realize from 17 to 21, from 2017 to 2021.
Most wins in the NFL during the regular season.
Yes. So again, I will agree with most people that say.
Thank you, Saints radio station.
They failed to make it through. But it's hard to argue when for 5 years, the only team that won more games than you and they won 2 more games than you was the Kansas City Chiefs. So 30 teams over that 5-year stretch didn't have the same success as you. Now, again, did some of those teams make it to the Super Bowl? Yes. Should the Saints have made it to a Super Bowl? Yes. But that's where I always try to defend Sean Payton when I say, hold on a second here now. Who are we arguing?
Defend Sean Payton? How often do you have to defend? I don't know, besides me, where you hear this too often. Fletch, I'll just say this. I mean, if you ask someone, hey, how long was Sean Payton the head coach? If someone's asking you, on a plane and they don't know football, like 15 years. How long was Breeze there? Like 15 years, roughly. Never injured.
They have multiple Super Bowls.
And how many times were they the best team in that sport? Once. How many times were they the best team in their league? Not the whole, just the NFC. Once. How can that be? The Saints were the best team in the NFC one time under Payton and Breeze. That to me is underachieving a little, and that would mean overrated a little, right or wrong?
But no, because here's the thing. I don't think when you say there's not many people saying it besides me, you're right. There's not many people saying it. It's kind of, and I hate to use the term, kind of the lunatic fringe outlier.
Oh, no. I'm like, it's like the Taysom Hill thing. I was like the only person locally. I mean, they're in a sports media member. It's like the win-loss column from a few months ago. 25 local media members, not one picks a losing record for the Saints. Do you think Philly or New York or Boston or Miami or any other market, that would be the case? New coach, don't have a quarterback, not one media member out of 24 locally? There's some dude with a little stubby cigar, Fletch, that hates the team. He's picking them 4-13. There's not one media member.
I get it. Like I said, look, when the dust settles, we may all look like idiots for having drank.
It's not about idiots or not. It's someone needed to be Ed Daniels besides just Ed Daniels. That's all.
Well, he picked
10 seconds
too. He
9-8. 9-8. Everyone's 10. So every media member locally, every single one, this is a winning team. That's a playoff team. And that's a strong statement. Fletch, hang on. I got to take a break. We're coming right back.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle. Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to Tommy'sLockandAlarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Recently, Kim Kardashian was seen at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Let's party.
Can you think of any other celebrities that won't sue us? Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. 3235 Paris Road.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
This is going to be a change of pace. Fletch, take it away. We'll end it with your thoughts.
My thoughts?
Well, before we get into Saints, LSU, and Tulane on me saying Sean Payton slightly overrated and
No, I mean, look, let me say this. I feel like if Sean Payton, should the Saints have probably been in another Super Bowl? Yes. To even use the term overrated, I feel like that I'm fine with that as long as you say Tom Coughlin's overrated, no doubt about it. Mike Tomlin's overrated, no doubt about it. Andy Reid is overrated, no doubt about it. Like, as long as you're consistent with your school of thought, if Mike Tomlin has the same record as Sean Payton in the same body of work, Mike Tomlin's overrated. Like, Andy Reid, and look, I'll give Andy Reid maybe a little bump up because of the Kansas City success recently, but like Tom Coughlin has 2 Super Bowls, and he has like 15 or 18 less wins than Sean Payton and 3 less playoff appearances. Overrated. Like, that's the thing. If
Tomlin's got just how many Super Bowls? Just 1?
2.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
2, but like 4 trips to the playoffs in like 10 years and like 18 games below. I was looking up like 18 games below Sean Payton. So if
they win goal, when it matters, I guess.
Well, here's it. If your goal is Super Bowl appearances,
yes,
then we can probably say if that's all that matters is how many times did you make it to the big game?
Yes.
Then that's it. But I just feel like that's kind of disingenuous to say. I only care about how many times you made it to the Super Bowl. That's all that matters.
So, Sean Payton, you're going to have a hell of a regular season and 500 in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's what all these guys are. Like, Tom Coughlin has a losing playoff record. Mike Tomlin has a losing playoff record. But, like, that's the thing. Like, so, but because they've both been to 2 Super Bowls and
yes,
went to 1,
yes,
like, so
yes,
if he's overrated, yes, then they're all overrated.
Having the Hallis Trophy and the Super Bowl trophy, or what? I guess it's the Kansas City guy. That would be the trophy in the AFC. No, the owner Hunt, the Lamar Hunt Trophy. I think those are important. Hey,
I'm not saying. Yeah.
No, I know. Fletch, 90% of the population's cheering you on right now. 10%'s going Johnson's got it right. You know that one I can clearly say. That one I can clearly say.
And again, I understand what you're saying. I just don't like it when people single Payton out. I am fine with your school of thought as long as it encompasses every other coach that falls into that category. Losing playoff record, some losing seasons mixed in, and not enough Super Bowls over 10 or 15 years.
Hey, Fletch, tomorrow night, Uptown New Orleans, 6 o'clock. This is as big as it gets for Willie Fritz in a lot of ways. The Waves favored by 12.5. That's scary. They better be locked in and focused. There could be 25,000 plus at Yeoman tomorrow night. They're expecting a big crowd. Southern Miss, 100 miles up the road, they're going to bring in a few thousand Golden Eagle fans. 1 and 2 Southern Miss. This is a dangerous game for the Wave. They better be locked in and focused because they need to get to 4-0. First time, by the way, 3-0 in 25 years, and first Power 5 win. That K-State win on the road last week. That was wonderful.
Yeah, look, they need to be 4-0 going into Houston, starting conference play. Because here's the thing, they're 3-0, and I don't want to be Debbie Downer. 2 of those wins are against UMass, who is an independent throwaway school. A nobody in football.
And the other's a SWAC win.
In Alcorn State, which is a rent-to-win game. So, look, Kansas State was a monumental win for their program. The first Power 5 win for Willie Fritz. The first real win in almost 20 years, because the last one was Rutgers in 2010, and Rutgers is a fringe Power 5 team, if you ask me, in football. And so, to me, this is big. And I think it's going to be a lot harder. If I were gambling, I would probably take Southern Miss, because I don't know if I trust Tulane to beat anybody by 12. But I think Tulane is riding some momentum, has some confidence. I think they win a close game. And I think they move to 4-0, but I don't think they cover that 12.5.
Boy, Willie Fritz saying, guys, we got 1 win. You know, the 2 teams you mentioned are rental wins, coupled with, hey, guys, our win against K-State, they're looking ahead to Oklahoma. Are we looking ahead to Houston? Are we going to pull what K-State did with us? So, you know, there's a lot of motivating things. Hopefully the players buy into all this. And I agree with you, Fletch. 12.5 is a lot. You know, I think, I don't want to say sucker bet, but I think a lot of folks are going to be going with Southern Miss, but I don't want to get into gambling. 30 minutes later in Baton Rouge, New Mexico, LSU, Tigers by 31.5. Does it matter that Kelly's talking about New Mexico and their defense is pretty good and that could keep it close? That's what he said. And I kind of went, damn, that's sort of blackboard material for New Mexico. Hey, guys, they're not giving us a chance of winning. This coach even says if we play well, we could keep it close. Is that a mistake? Or, Corey, it's New Mexico. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I would go with Corey. It's New Mexico. Don't worry about it. I mean, New Mexico and New Mexico State, I mean, you're talking about one of the worst football states in the country. and so they just can't get talent. Like their best talent leaves for Texas and California. It's not a great football state to begin with, so they don't turn out a lot of recruits. And then their best players are leaving. And so they're getting a ton of 2-star recruits. Just from a talent standpoint, LSU is far superior. I have no concerns about LSU winning this game going away. It won't be what Southern was, 44-0 after a quarter, but I'm pretty confident. I told you I'm not confident. I'm confident in Tulane winning, not covering the 12.5. I feel pretty safe to say that LSU is going to win this game by, I feel comfortable betting that 31.
It's a big game for Dennis Allen and the Saints in Charlotte. The Saints are 1-1, as you know. The Panthers are 0-2. They're desperate. They're at home and they're desperate. 0-3 as a whole you don't come out of. Saints are favored by only 2.5. It's an interesting line. You'd think it would be maybe more. But a big game, kind of I don't want to say must win this early, but a big game for Dennis Allen. It's a 3rd in a row with a South opponent. 20 seconds, Fletch.
Look, this is as big as it gets early in the season. I mean, this is a huge one. This reminds me of LSU Mississippi State last week. Mississippi State came in undefeated. People were talking about them being a real legit team, and LSU needing to maybe get a win at home to show that they're real, and LSU rose up. I think that Carolina is desperate because only one team in the last 25 years has started 0-3 and still made it to the playoffs. So everyone knows statistically what 0-3 means.
Yep.
And And so Carolina is as desperate as they get. Their offense has struggled just like the Saints offense. The Saints, I think, are the better team, but are desperate to get it going offensively.
Fletch, I got to go. You're the man. Fletcher Mackel, Corey Johnson.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eye, you.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's called more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Crescent City and beyond. 60 years ago today, the Jetsons premiered on ABC. Prime time, first color TV show on ABC.
His boy Elroy.
Going to elementary school.
Daughter Judy.
Going to high school.
Jane, his wife.
Going to the shopping mall. And then what? George is parking his vehicle by Spacely Space Sprockets and pushing the button and it turns into a briefcase, right? And then he gets on the People Mover. Boy, 60 years ago today, the Jetsons, they were pretty sharp. They were pretty on time, huh? They kind of knew what they were doing, I'd say. A cartoon in 1962 prime time. I've often talked about this. Jetsons, Johnny Quest, Bugs Bunny. Adults can watch these old school cartoons with their kids because they were made with adults in mind. But boy, the Jetsons, huh? Predicting video calls. Predicting flat screen TVs. Predicting personal assistants. Predicting smartwatches, tanning beds, food printing, home treadmills, space tourism, people movers. You go on and on and on. I think 1962, the space race with the Russians, Kennedy's declaration, landing a man on the moon before the end of the decade, all of that. Plus you're talking about Hanna-Barbera, all these incredible, talented, folks that were born all around the country, had a skill, moved to California to live the dream. These folks are born in 1910, 1920, 1930. All of them long gone now. But just creative and smart, kind of trendsetters. The budget for these cartoons, because they were primetime television shows. Jason and I were talking about the music and the guy putting the music together and the orchestras and all the talented musicians. Anyway, a different era. But no, the Jetsons was cutting edge because a lot of the stuff, that they had on that show, being a futuristic show, was stuff we got today, like video calls and flat screen TVs and smartwatches and tanning beds and food printing and home treadmills and space tourism and people movers. It's crazy. Anyway, 60 years ago today, the Jetsons, part of Americana. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you're right. We did it about 45 minutes late last week, didn't we, Jason? Folks had the hard hat already in the truck, the lunch pail in the truck. They're probably pulling up to the house. They left the plant, the manufacturing facility a long time ago. We do it the blue collar way. We celebrate this particular moment of the day a little after 5 p.m. on a Friday, 100% of the work week in the books, 100% of the weekend smack dab in front of us. We celebrate it by blowing the 5 o'clock whistle. That's right, you're off work. Hit it again. The 5 o'clock whistle on a Friday, appropriately brought to you by Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. If you're buying expensive wine by the case and you're doing it often, It's tailgating season. You're buying lots of beer, alcohol, wine for tailgating. You throw lots of parties. You're constantly restocking the bar at home. And you buy by the case, especially you folks that buy by the case. You could save hundreds, thousands of dollars over the course of a year when you're purchasing that wine, alcohol, and cold beer for the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law. No one's got lower prices. It's not a sale. It's not on select items. It's all the time on everything. It's Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Super Discount Store!
Lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. It's got to be Super D. 5 o'clock whistle on a Friday. Appropriately brought to you by Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Hey, if you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. You can catch it on YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify. Fletcher, I think the last name is pronounced Mackel. Fletcher Mackel from Cox Channel 7. Fletcher Mackel from Channel 6 joined us. Another Fridays with Fletch. We started off a couple of topics about Sean Payton. One, I think the reason for leaving the Saints, 110% BS about the burnout, needed time off. I mean, not when Miami gets popped for talking to Payton's agent. And obviously, Miami can't get popped for talking to Payton's agent unless Payton's agent is talking back to Miami. So Payton's agent is engaging in conversation with the Dolphins. If Brady goes to the Dolphins, maybe Payton goes to the Dolphins. He's coaching this year in Miami. So burned out from coaching, all that is a bunch of nonsense, especially the minute he walks out that Saints facility, he's talking about the next job. And now it's only accelerated. If a team appears that has a top flight, top 3 to 5, 8 quarterback in the league, a quarterback that Sean Payton thinks is elite, Drew Brees-like, he'll go to that team. And it'll be for the upcoming season, maybe the Chargers, depending on how they do. Have a bad year, a disappointing year, Payton's there. No, I think I'm burned out, I need time off. Burned out on the Saints, burned out on New Orleans, too much time here. Wife doesn't like the uptown women, whatever. That's the reason, not I need a break. Would have been coaching Miami. So that's 110% nonsense. And then also, we talked a little bit about, I think Sean Payton's just slightly overrated. Slightly overrated. I don't think anyone on planet Earth that follows the NFL would think Sean Payton, Drew Brees, 15 years, Brees never injured, 1 George Halas trophy, 1 trip to the Super Bowl, 1-2 in NFC title games, 1-2. And 9-8, barely over 500 playoff record. Not a lot of postseason success when you're 9-8, when you're 1-2 in NFC title games, when you've got 1 George Halas trophy, 1 Super Bowl trophy, at least 1 more, if not 2 more Halas trophies, which means at least 1, if not 2 more Super Bowl trips. That's all I'm saying. I think Sean Payton is a fantastic coach. I'm not delusional about that. He's probably a Hall of Fame coach, is a Hall of Fame coach. But I think slightly overrated and full of BS as much as anyone, maybe more than most folks because he's in the public eye and he likes it. He's got an ego. So maybe more BS than most in this burnout nonsense. Like, yeah, the coach just needed to take a year off. 110% BS. He'd be coaching Miami right now. His agent wouldn't have been in discussions with Miami if that wasn't a possibility. So this is a fact. When Sean Payton was in his final year coaching the Saints, he was in discussions, indirectly, his agent, Sean Payton had to, don't talk to them. No, I'm going to talk to him anyway, Sean. Sean's like, yes, talk to him. So Payton is talking to Miami his final year with the Saints. Anyway, Fletch kind of disagreed with that, but that's what's great. That's what's great. Fridays with Fletch. No one's going to discuss those topics. Breaking down a little Tulane LSU Saints for you as well. Frank Brigtsen's 5 minutes away. Michael Hecht about 20 minutes away. Harry joins us in Slidell right now. What's up, Harry?
What up, Torrey?
What up, dude?
You know, Payton reminds me a lot of Schottenheimer. In the 11th season, the 18th season should have been at least 2 more Hallis trophies and likely Lombardi. That year we lost to Frisco on that long play by that tight end. I can't remember his name.
Yep. And then the beast mode, and then Seattle, with the beast mode. Yeah. Seattle, 11, 13, and 18.
Yeah, 13 was a good, but for some reason, 11 and 18 stick out to my mind. 18 obviously because of the no call.
11's probably the best team.
Yeah. Yeah. Remind me a lot of Marty Schottenheimer, who would go, remember in San Diego, he'd win 12, 13 games a year, and then he'd get bounced in the first round.
Yep. And Harry, I think I'm like you. Love Sean Payton. The guy's a winner, but I just think, a little overrated, especially in New Orleans. I think, I think where we have him in our minds and what the Saints did is inflated a little. Like, we're talking about these teams that didn't get to the NFC title game or lost in the NFC title game, didn't win a Hallis trophy. So now I'm in agreement with you, Harry.
But when you coach for just a perennial loser franchise, it's easy to look good.
Oh no, you're right. And he came off of when they were losing after Katrina. Harry and Slidell, don't move. I heard the kid crying. I'm going to get you $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate. Hang on.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle. Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to tommyslockandalarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Thanks for joining us. Hey, in just a few minutes, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. will be joining us. You know, every day we broadcast on radio, on television, now on YouTube. We do it from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. If you ever need air conditioning help, like on a Friday, you're getting home right now and your AC's not working right or not working at all, and you're like, it's Friday and this is how you're going to start the weekend, kill that stress level immediately. Get your problem solved. Honest air conditioning experts from River City's Total Maintenance will be there right now. They're honest air conditioning experts who come immediately. You can find them online at nolaac.com. nolaac.com. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Let's go to Uptown, the Riverbend, the Carrollton section of Uptown. Frank Brigtsen joins us from his legendary restaurant on Dante Street. What up, Frank?
Where you at, Corey? TGIF.
I never understood in between the A and the T. What does that mean on where you at? In between the A and the T. I don't understand that. Do you?
I don't know, Cap.
Is that code for Frank gets it and it's dirty and I'm just slow and don't get it? I don't know. I'm going to have to Google that one. Anyway, always a pleasure, Frank. Love having you on the program. What a great day, man. In the shade with that breeze, it's kind of nice.
It is a beautiful day. Beautiful September day. Kind of a fake summer kind of day or fake fall kind of day. One of the two.
Yep.
I'm loving it.
We're getting a little coolio front early next week, Frank. We're going to have temperatures like starting Monday or Tuesday, overnights in the 60s, man, and highs in the low 80s for like a week straight next week. How nice is that? Real fall weather.
I saw that. I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'm very thankful that that storm seems like it's not coming our way.
Yeah, it looks like it's, I mean, I don't wish for it to hit Tampa area or any of that, but it looks like it's going to come into the Gulf and maybe hug that Florida coastline maybe, huh?
Yeah, they're going to get hit pretty hard. I think it's going to be a severe storm, but we'll just hope for the best.
I like when those folks in Colorado Springs are wrong with their predictions, names, storms, and all that. It's nice when they're wrong, Frank. We've had a pretty uneventful hurricane season thus far. Hope that continues.
Yeah, I think so far so good, and we hope for the best. But meanwhile, we're going to enjoy this beautiful blue sky, lovely evening here, sun starting to set.
Hey, Frank, what's it mean for you at Brigtsen's menu in particular, what you're serving? What's it mean as we fade from summer to fall? What's going to be transitioning over the next few weeks for you guys?
Well, shrimp is what's happening right now, and oysters should be getting better and better. I couldn't get shucked oysters earlier in the week, but I got them now. And we also got some fresh flounder in today, too. So your favorite dish is back on the menu. Flounder meuniere with roasted pecans is back, baby.
That's so good. Really is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's been selling well this week. The seafood stuffed eggplant with a lemon and shrimp Parmesan cheese sauce.
What's inside the eggplant? What's the stuffing all about, Frank?
It's a seafood eggplant dressing with a lot of crab meat and shrimp. And between 2 rounds of fried eggplant, and then the sauce is kind of a Parmesan cheese sauce with shrimp and a little lemon to brighten it up. And that's been selling really, really well.
Has any insane individual tried to pick that up like a hamburger and take a bite out of that?
That's what it looks like. It looks like a wimpy burger.
I'm telling you.
But yeah, and we had a table like you suggested. Actually, we had a table ordered as an appetizer to share, which is a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah,
they were just curious about it, and had one to share between 4 people.
I think the key to that dish, Frank, at least the photo I saw, besides all the yummy stuff, those eggplant circles just, first off, by themselves, they look great. They're thin, they're crispy. They're not greasy and they're not soggy or wet. They're stiff and crispy. I just want to eat one by hand by itself, but then all that goop and crab meat and shrimp. That's why I was making the joke about picking it up like a burger. That stuff would just squirt out all over the place. Talk about a sloppy roast beef po' boy. It'd be all over your hands.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, we take care in everything we do, Corey. The eggplant. We season with Chef Paul's seafood seasoning, dipped into whole eggs, and then into my own seasoned breadcrumbs, which we make ourselves. And it's fried crisp to order, like you say. And so you get a really nice textural sensation as well when you cut it into it with your fork.
Yeah, I just would imagine that dish, 30 minutes, an hour later wouldn't be quite as good because that eggplant would get maybe a little soggy.
Yeah, it would. It would still eat well. We got it on the takeout
exactly.
menu.
It would eat well, yep.
So.
Yep. No, it looks like a great dish. Well, and that's a newbie. That's how long's that been on the menu, Frank? Just a few weeks, right?
Yeah, just a couple of weeks. It's an oldie but goodie from our culinary menu from years past, and it's sold like hotcakes. So we thought we'd bring it back, and it's doing really well.
Hey, besides wonderful local fresh seafood, the purveyor dictates what you're getting. You don't go and say, I want trout or I want flounder. Hey, I got this, Frank. It's fresh. It just came in. That's how you decide. What about someone that wants to go the meat angle, like maybe chicken or a pork chop or even a steak?
Well, we've recently changed our pork chop dish. So now it's pan-roasted pork chop with Chef Larry's pork debris sauce and mashed potatoes. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
Talk about comfort food, huh?
Oh, man. This pork debris sauce is like the richest pork gravy you ever had. It takes about 4 hours to make. We make a really, really rich, dark pork stock. And then we brown ground pork and really crispy brown and flambe it with cognac, and then put all that together and put a little bit of blonde roux to give it a gravy consistency. And it is dark brown, darker than Hershey's chocolate.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, Frank, I'm assuming, when we were kids, you couldn't serve pork like medium or medium well.
Right.
I'm still kind of a medium well to well done pork eater. I like it kind of white. I don't want it dry, but I want it white. I'm assuming you're serving it a little pink.
Well, no, we cook it through.
Oh, okay. Okay.
For me personally, if I'm eating pork tenderloin, I like a little blush inside. Like medium well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that particular cut can get a little dry. But our pork chops, we had comments on this, every night. But last night, a lady was really raving about the pork chop and what we do to it, et cetera. And so I told her, we buy whole pork racks and we brine them for 15 hours. And that makes them really, really tender. And they're always moist. You can cook it well done and it doesn't get dry.
Yep. No, and I don't know. I like pork white. I can't,
Yeah, I'm the same. But that, 50 years ago, 80 years ago, that would definitely apply because the conditions that the pigs were raised in was not up to snuff.
I guess not.
In some cases, and that improved drastically, of course, and with FDA inspections and all that, the way the animals are raised today, you can feel confident that a medium cooked pork is going to be fine.
Yep, no, exactly. Frank Brigtsen's with us from Brigtsen's Restaurant. What about that filet you have on the menu, Frank? What's that all about? And I mean, the great thing about it is that Frank Brigtsen sauce on that filet. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have Chef Samantha's making that Marchand Duvin sauce now, and it is her favorite sauce.
So good.
We use Chef Paul's tasso. Typically, a Marchand Duvin is made with some ham. We use Chef Paul's tasso, onions, mushrooms, garlic, red wine, shallots, and a beef stock. And it's rich, dark brown, delicious. And the steak itself is certified Angus beef, which is a grade of beef higher than choice, just below prime. So it's always good. And we garnish that with fried shallot rings, like little baby onion rings. And it's a taste and texture delight. What's also selling well is our roast duck, which is always selling well, but we changed the side dish this past couple of weeks. We're serving cornbread dressing, but I wanted to do something with sweet potatoes. So
nice.
We're doing a baked sweet potato. We call it a praline baked sweet potato. We actually make a praline, essentially, and crumble it and put it, cut a slit in the baked potato and put that praline in there and then heat it up.
Wow.
So the praline melts inside the baked potato.
That's
my gosh. I brought 2 home the other night for me and Mara, and they are really, really good.
That's so smart. What you went from maybe summertime cherry sauce back to like a blackberry for the duck? What's the sauce?
No, we still got our tart dried cherry sauce,
Nice.
and that'll stay the same until Louisiana navel oranges start coming in,
orange,
and then we'll do duck à l'orange.
Yeah, wow. How about chickens? Airline chicken still on the menu?
Yeah, it is. Interestingly, we were talking about it. We didn't sell too much last week, and then this week it's selling really well. Last night we sold about 12. So
wow,
this is really the best chicken I've ever had, Corey. It's Bell and Evans brand, and it's organic, all natural chicken, air cooled, not dipped into any kind of brine or solution or anything like that.
Yep.
And it's like the pork. It's the most tender, moist chicken. It cooked to order, of course. It's a skin-on breast with a drumette attached.
Nice.
That's called an airline breast. And so we season it and crisp up the skin, sear the skin side, flip it, and then finish it in a 500-degree oven for 10 minutes. So it's freshly cooked to order, and it comes to your plate hot and juicy. And that's served with stone ground grits from Baton Rouge and topped with an andouille sausage gravy. Very, very good. And the side dish on that is some ratatouille.
What's ratatouille?
Ratatouille is a Mediterranean dish, a vegetable dish of zucchini, squash, eggplant, cooked with tomato, garlic, onions, and celery. And we also put in some capers and a splash of red wine vinegar, fresh sweet basil. So that's something that really rounds out the plate nicely.
Boy, that is a vegetarian, vegan dream dish, huh?
Yeah, it is. I love to eat. We like to eat the ratatouille cold ourselves. We serve it warm, but Larry and I like it cold. You can make ratatouille and put it in the fridge and just eat it as a side dish or on a salad, or even make a grilled cheese sandwich with like a grilled mozzarella cheese sandwich with some ratatouille inside. Very, very good.
Hey, Frank, let's kind of end it with the beginning and an end. How would someone start their meal tonight? You got a super salad or both you recommend? And then the opposite, what do you recommend finishing the meal with?
I would suggest our butternut shrimp bisque. We've been making a lot of that lately. It's our most popular dish for many years. And I tell people, if it's your first time visiting Brigtsen's, your first taste should be the butternut shrimp bisque. And I really love our Caesar salad, which is, a classic Caesar with romaine and homemade croutons, my Caesar dressing, and we garnish it with marinated white anchovies. We have a little bit of regular anchovy in the dressing. It's not too much, but so that makes sense. And for dessert, our pecan pie, we're doing butterscotch bread pudding right now, lemon blueberry creme brulee, and our famous double chocolate cake.
Yeah, that chocolate cake's crazy. So moist. Hey, Frank, any openings tonight or tomorrow night?
I think we've got a crack or two tomorrow for a table of two. Next week looks good. I think the second week of October is Tulane homecoming weekend. We've been getting tons of calls for that.
Nice.
So that's going to be a busy weekend. It always is. So give us a call if you want to sneak in tomorrow night or make reservations for next week.
861-7610. 861-7610. That's the number over at Brigtson's. Anything until next week, Frank?
That's it, my friend. Have a lovely weekend, y'all. Enjoy this beautiful weather and take care of each other.
Yeah, you're right. Right back at you, Frank. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
That's Frank Brigtsen from his world-famous restaurant, Brigtson's on Dante Street in the Riverbend, right off River Road. 861-7610 is the phone number there. 861-7610. He said there might be an opening tomorrow night or two. I would check that out for sure. Brigtson's is so good. Been there 35 plus years. Young's Dry Cleaning, been there 80 plus years since 1940, pre-World War II. They must be doing something right. Fourth generation, walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations. No one else has that. Drop off your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's locker. Pick it all up 2 days later, perfectly dry clean. It's called Young's Express, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of them all over the metro area, probably really close to where you live or work and you didn't even know. To find out more about the best dry cleaner in the business, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Uh-oh, Michael Heck saying his flight got rebooked. I'm boarding right now. I'm sorry. I owe you a double session and a beer. No problem, bro. Anyway, we were going to have Michael Hecht on next. Apparently, we're not going to have Michael Hecht on next. But we'll get him next Friday. No doubt about that. I love getting Michael on. Wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff. I'm really, what I find interesting is the judge blocking that chemical plant. I mean, one thing that, the Mississippi River's here. It is kind of the industrial corridor of the United States of America, one of the major ones. And I think Louisiana with the DEQ, just really no teeth. I don't know why we sell out the way we do, because there aren't a lot of options for these plants. There aren't a lot of options. And I'm not saying there isn't competition for them, but it's sort of, this isn't like a car plant or, some kind of manufacturer. It's a different kind of manufacturer that inevitably pollutes, and it's just part of Louisiana. Oil and gas industry, chemical industry. I mean, we make the nation's fertilizer. It's ironic. We make the nation's fertilizer. While producing it, it puts cancer-causing agents in the air and water and kills our citizens. We send that fertilizer to the Midwest. They use it, and then the runoff goes in the Mississippi River, flows past us, goes out in the Gulf, causes a dead zone that hurts our seafood industry. I mean, it's mind-boggling. So, no, look, I'm for industry coming to Louisiana. I mean, even for oil and gas and the chemical industry. I'll never forget when Buddy Roemer, the late, great Buddy Roemer, who we'd be North Carolina as a state today. New Orleans would be like Charlotte. There'd be north of 2 million folks. We might have banks and insurance companies based out of here, like Charlotte, creating that out of nothing. That research triangle, my God, the money that they generate out of the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area, which, by the way, is a larger metro now than Metro New Orleans. No, Buddy Roemer, he had DEQ actually with some teeth back then, holding the oil and gas industry, the chemical industry, holding them accountable. And now, I mean, you can pick up, go Google articles. I mean, I'm reading something the other day about, the industrial corridors around the world and Chevron and Shell. We love Shell, One Shell Square, all the employees, the sponsor the Jazz Fest. They better sponsor the Jazz Fest, because you look at the amount of money that these companies have made, just billions and billions and billions off of oil and gas in Louisiana, how they've hurt our state. No, it's, we need regulation. It needs to be enforced. But basically, these companies like Shell, Chevron, they go to places like China, Malaysia, Louisiana's listed in that, because they can get away with polluting. The people don't care. And that's inevitably us. And I talk about this stuff. It's not popular. Some of you probably like, here goes Corey again. I don't want to hear this. No, we love sticking our head in the sand. We love looking the other way. I'm pro oil and gas. I'm pro drilling. I'm pro chemical companies. We have the Mississippi River. We're always going to have that. We just need them regulated. There needs to be full-blown transparency. Everything needs to be out in the open. They need to follow the rules, and they don't. They don't, because they know Louisiana doesn't care. And that's just how it is here. We don't care. It's like this Menhaden thing. Every state has regulations on fishing for Menhaden. Louisiana has no regulations. They had a net that they ripped open, and they dumped 1 million Menhaden out in the Gulf, just dead. A big dead zone of rotten fish. Right off the coast. We whore out ourselves for this Menhaden, and you want to know what it is? A couple of companies that aren't even from the United States, foreign companies, and they employ, these two companies, about 500 people total. Now, I'm not saying jobs aren't important, and if you have a job directly related to that, it's of vital importance. But I didn't say 5,000, which would still be a head scratcher. Are we going to sell out the fisheries, doing the right thing with wildlife and these fish? Or are we just going to whore it out and let these industries control it for 500 jobs? Not 5,000, not 50,000, like 500. It's crazy. No, we're famous for kind of sticking our head in the sand and looking the other way. We'll visit with Michael Heck next week and talk about all that good stuff. Boy, it is a Friday. How about Katie's? Like right now. How about Katie's in Mid-City? They'll be open tomorrow for lunch, tomorrow for dinner, Sunday for lunch, Sunday for dinner, 7 days a week. It's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. People end their workday whenever they're getting off 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. They beeline over to Katie's in Mid-City. Just a great vibe, a bunch of New Orleans characters, great New Orleans food. Like Scott Craig says, the owner of Katie's, more is better, more of the good things. Hey, by the way, you folks out in Harahan, River Ridge, Elmwood, Old Jefferson, the Katie's of Harahan, right there in the bend on Hickory Avenue, the Katie's of Harahan, Bienvenue. You go check out Bienvenue, you folks out there. Katie's in Mid-City, so good. Corey Johnson with you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our Top Benchmark exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about the freshest local seafood anywhere. Shrimp, oysters, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, soft shells, crawfish. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans Napoleon Terminal is nearly doubling in size, with 4 new gantry cranes being installed and over $100 million being invested. That means lots of new jobs, port traffic, and tax dollars for the city. The Port of New Orleans, your port.
Hey, y'all, it's Junket Cantrell. And I gotta tell you, the summer of 2022 and the travel I've experienced, well, it's memories of a lifetime. I mean, come on, y'all. I went to Switzerland. Ching. First class, $10,000 just for the flight. Ching. The French Riviera. Ching. Singapore. How about Singer-Rich? Ching. And next, I'm heading to Africa again. Ching. All on the city's dime. Yeah, you right. It's LaToya the Destroyer. Where will I go next? One thing's for sure, I won't be paying for it. Spending someone else's money is so much fun.
She danced. She moved. She shake. LaToya the Destroyer Cantrell, Mayor, City of New Orleans.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With high-definition night vision surveillance systems, letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Thanks so much for joining us on the radio, on television, on YouTube. We're expecting a Coolio front early next week. Temperatures next week for like Tuesday on are going to be like mid 60s overnight and then low 80s with low humidity during the day. We're actually going to have fall-like weather. You might be able to like open up windows and doors and let the breeze blow through the house starting next week. Thank goodness. Finally, a real taste of fall weather. 60s and 70s. Yeah, you right. A Coolio front rolling in next week. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Hey, if you're on the Causeway right now, why don't you fire in a to-go order from Trey Yen? Get your Friday night started right. Curbside delivery at Trey Yen. 985-626-4476. 626-4476. Fire in a to-go order right now at Trey Yen. Curbside delivery. They'll walk it right out to the car. Mom, dad, the kids, everybody's happy. Don't forget the Tong Cho sauce. Trey Yen in Mandeville. Better yet, why don't you beeline in and eat at Trey Yen. 25 short minutes from Lakeside Mall. I-10 and Causeway, you're 25 minutes to Trey Yen in Mandeville. It's easy. Right when you cross that Causeway Bridge, immediately on your left, Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. Corey Johnson with you. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. That's how you're checking us out on the radio. Oh, so fine, 93.9 FM. Thanks for checking us out on YouTube. Corey Johnson, Neutral Ground. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have live streaming going via our website, CoreyTalks.com. CoreyTalks.com. I like this. It's called Control. Because of a blatant lack of transparency. The city council's request to block the mayor from controlling money from the Wisner Trust was granted by Judge Kern Reese. Any future expenditures must be court approved. The mayor moved north of $1 million to her personal nonprofits, plural. The IG investigating those nonprofits, which I have to think a few things. I mean, if you think they're well run, the needy are getting all the money and it's efficiently spent. I mean, I talk about the Humane Society of Louisiana, humanela.org, 96 cents, 97 cents of every dollar goes to the animals. I guarantee it's the flip-flop on the mayor's nonprofits. It smells of Bill Jefferson nonprofits. Set up to set up friends and family, to enrich friends and family. Now, the mayor has several nonprofits. They're receiving taxpayer money, and none of it's out there like for the public to see. Now the IG is investigating it, and I think it's a no-brainer that, first off, you yourself, you can not balance your checkbook. You can have bad credit. You can do whatever you want to yourself. But when you run for public office and you're representing the citizens, you better have the I's dotted and the T's crossed. You don't get a applaud or a pat on the back for doing the job right, for having a ledger with the correct, numbers and money. You don't get a pat on the back for having a nonprofit and the money goes to the needy people. That's what's supposed to happen. That's the whole point. I guarantee you money is going to salaries. There are people enriching themselves instead of, it's a nonprofit for the mayor. It's the mayor's fund. Why aren't you doing this for free? So there's going to be salaried folks, follow the money. And then those salaried folks that are hiring out entities to fill the needs of the nonprofit, follow the money there. It's going to be more Latoya the Destroyer friends and pals, and our services being provided. Now, I bet when you break this down, for every dollar being spent on the nonprofits, it's probably like in the teens. 15 cents of every dollar going towards the needy. The other 85 cents going to Latoya Destroyer's pals and friends. That's my guess. That's my guess. I know this, the Inspector General's office, via subpoena, has subpoenaed the financial records of the mayor's fund, has subpoenaed them. We're going to get the Inspector General, Ed Michel, on the program next week. You don't want to miss that. A man steals a vehicle and crashes it into another vehicle in Uptown. Drew Brees' old hood. Walnut, Pitt Street, right by Audubon Park. Right by Audubon Park. Walnut and Pitt Street. Man steals a vehicle at gunpoint, jumps in it, and then proceeds to crash it into the neighbor's car and then runs on foot. No, whoever said criminals are stupid, that was pretty right on the money statement. Hey, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., Yeoman Stadium. Be there. It is a real college atmosphere. I mean, I think folks like used to Tiger Stadium. That's the outlier. 102,000 seats. How many stadiums in all of college football are like that? 10? How many have like 80, 90,000? Another 10, 20? I mean, there are 300-something college programs. I think the average stadium size is like 40-something thousand seats. Yeoman Stadium at full capacity is around 30,000. And if you've ever been, you'll know what I'm saying is true. It is a college-like atmosphere anytime you get north of 20,000 in that place. It's loud, it's colorful, it's the pageantry, it's college football. So get the outlier out of your head. I mean, LSU is like 102,000. That's the fluke. That's like world class. But I'm telling you, in New Orleans, the only college football you can catch with a local team, and it's at an outdoor stadium in Uptown New Orleans on Tulane's beautiful campus. I highly recommend tomorrow's game. Southern Miss fans are coming. Hattiesburg's bringing in a lot of folks, and they're up against the wall. They're 1-2. The Wave, fresh off of one of their biggest wins in the Fritz era, a first ever Power 5 win. They go on the road, beat Kansas State. Kansas State probably looking ahead of to the Oklahoma game they got tomorrow. I hope the Wave's not looking ahead to Houston next week. Conference play. The Wave's favored by 12.5. Southern Miss is going to be focused. The Wave better be. They really need to be 4-0. They really need to be 4-0. This is a huge opportunity. One side of me is nervous that Tulane may overlook the game because of Houston, coming off the high of the Kansas State win on the road, the accolades they're starting to get, and Southern Miss at 1-2 with a losing record. You almost wish they were 3-0. And then the wins Tulane has. K-State's a wonderful win. But Alcorn out of the SWAC, and was it UMass? UMass? Yeah, a nobody. Those are rental wins. So K-State, legitimate win on the road. Got to do it at Yeoman. Got to get to 4-0 and then focus on the Houston game. So lots, like I just mentioned, 3 or 4 distractions for the Wave. Hopefully they don't overlook Southern Miss. And I'd say they might bring 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 fans from Hattiesburg. There'll be a noticeable contingency at Yeoman. 30 minutes later up at Tiger Stadium, 2-1 New Mexico, 2-1 LSU. Tigers by 31.5. Sunday noon in Charlotte, 1-1 Saints, 0-2 Carolina. Saints just favored by 2.5 in this one. Third straight NFC South game. Saints got to get a win. I wouldn't say it's a must win, but pretty darn close. Carolina, it's a must win. They're 0-2. So they'll be locked and loaded at home, focused. Saints need to pick up a nice victory Sunday. 3 people shot, all men, Tulane near Gravier, right by University Hospital. I guess that's the positive. Convenience. Yikes. Speaking of convenience, Rouse's Markets. You head home right now from work? You probably pass 2 or 3 Rouse's on the way home. I'll be beelining to a Rouse's in just a little while. Probably Ferret in between Jefferson and Napoleon. Ferret at Valence, that boutique store that's got everything I need. What a cool store. Really cool. Best quality, best price, best selection. Over 20 Rouse's in Metro New Orleans. There's one near you. Rouse's Markets tastes like home. Now, I like the IG. I like transparency in government. I like a powerful FBI. I like a powerful Eastern District Attorney here in Louisiana. No, I want New Orleans to be its best. And I want the jokers and the clowns that are playing games to be, at the very least, exposed and ideally, out of there. NoLatoya.org. Go sign this weekend. NoLatoya.org. Thank you, Blue Boy. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for watching and listening. 93.9 FM, New Orleans. See you Monday.